Alright, so after boxing, this time in Novi Sad, second time in Serbia, first time in Novi Sad. We're a little over a month here now, and this time around I have managed to meet way more people, typically because I'm making an effort. I'm actually going out. I didn't go out before. I have a tendency at times in my mind to not want to connect with people and just to stay focused on work, life, whatever comes up. But this time around, and as I continue to progress in what we are doing, there's an absolute need to connect with as many people locally as possible. And I'm making a lot of friends here. One thing about Novi Sad is there's a sense, Serbia you'll sense this anyway, but there's a sense of I would say like a collective relationship the people have with themselves. I mean, I've been here, like I say, a little over a month, and they've been protesting for months since the unfortunate events of the station collapse. And I know that they're also protesting, I don't know all the details, something to do with faculties and university essentially. But I've been physically able to see and witness what that looks like on the road. Like, I was scooting around the other day, and I know this happens because I follow the local pages, but I saw it the other day, and it was a very interesting experience, scooting through it. Like, everyone's in the middle of the road, everyone's stopped, everyone's like a scene from a movie. And they're not doing anything, they're not protesting loudly, they're not saying anything. Everyone was just dead quiet, and I'm just like, you know, traffic stopped, everyone's in this crossroads, and yeah, I'm just scooting through this slowly, like slowing down. And I think there's a duty to capture more of that on film so people actually know what's going on. I think it's important to tell the story. Obviously, a protest is what? It's a form of communication that we're not happy with something. And I don't want to talk on behalf of the Serbian people, but people in general. They're unhappy with rulership, government agencies that don't represent them. That's definitely the majority of the case on Earth, but 100% I can see that through my travels as I go through Europe. The Earth is a small place. It's a very, very small place. Like, there's an illusion like it's a very big place. There's all these other places. When you drive it, and you can drive only for 2 hours, and you can go from a French speaking gas station to a German to a Spanish. The Earth is small, and you notice the same patterns and themes everywhere. You notice that there isn't much difference, really. There's some variations in culture, but there isn't much difference in what the governments are essentially trying to do. And of course, this whole European Union is trying to unify, supposedly, the the land, Europe. And that would be also with particular rule sets, treaties, like tax treaties, to make sure that everyone's under some kind of rule. So, long story short, I'm witnessing much more of it this time around. Last time we were here in Belgrade is when the station actually collapsed, not long after we left. Sorry, not long before we left. And yeah, they're working for justice. I don't think there's any accountability. Oh, and I like Serbia for that reason. I love Serbia anyway. I like for that reason. But right now, I'm going boxing. So, one thing I've been speaking about for ages is boxing training. And my somewhat of an excuse has always been, well, you know, I'm not in one location for too long. I move around, my focus is on many other things, and that's true. But it's also just an excuse still. So that pattern has been broken since coming out here. And I don't ever quite know what I'm walking into. But my process was, I've spoken to a ton of people. I am one to communicate, ask questions, learn. And a few places came up, but the one that responded the first and fastest typically is a good sign. And I'm going to hopefully get a little bit of footage today of boxing. And shout out to Surgeon and Nenad. They are running a place called Fight House in Novi Sad. Great duo, great combination. And I'm doing the one-to-one. So for the sake of staying in English, I'm doing the one-to-ones. Open to do the groups, but right now the one-to-ones have been great. And I think the biggest thing with me is what can be through laptop living, sedentary, if that's the word, of sitting down too long, being in front of a computer screen for way too long, being locked into that really desperate to get out of the poverty cycle that I know I've got so much room to grow, and I know my goals are very far ahead of me, and they'll continue to move forward. The goalposts always move forward. But I'm fortunate enough to say I'm in the best financial situation I've ever been, and I think it's very important online. There's a lot of people that flash that online, that are very specific with that online. I think you've got to be careful around that for multiple reasons. But the point I'm making is, I have the luxury to focus on something like boxing now, pay for a series of one-to-ones. I'm actually halfway through what I initially paid. So today is supposed to be sparring, and my goal was to go and train somewhere and get some sparring in. The fastest and best way to learn is to get stuck straight into the closest thing that you're looking to simulate in the learning process. And in boxing, it's box, spar. And there's many challenges to that. Challenges I've had in the past, because I've gone to boxing gyms, is I never got to do sparring. It was always, okay, I'm going to do training, I'm going to warm up. Again, I've done one-to-ones in the UK, and I always just wanted sparring. Just wanted to get in the ring and overcome that stiffness and what can be like a psychological block. Not even so much of getting hit, more of throwing a punch. And for whatever reason, I've gone through my years, because I went to a boxing school or a gym when I was younger, when I was 14, maybe 16, and I went in and out, and I got a little bit of experience back in shout out to White Dog Boxing Club in Red Hill, and I did a little bit with a couple of guys there, but that was years ago. I'm fucking 32, so I've never had enough. And the most I actually got was when Nyasha lived with me, and we did it, and we sparred 7 3-minute rounds, pretty much, I would say 25 days out of December in 2003. And that was the most experience I got, and that experience amplified and accelerated everything I had been doing for years on bags or pads or studying, because you get in there, it's a whole different world. And that's what I knew I needed to do. I said, I need to get into that world and immerse myself in. There's a body moving, there's a body moving, there's arms, there's people throwing arms at me, and I'm in this situation where I learned very, very quickly through that frequency that me and Yasha did, for me and my style being small, how to adapt to what actually works. And then for me being small, up close, tight, pressure, have to have unbelievable cardio to pressure people and just beat them through spirit and sheer will. Timing was a big thing, being offbeat. So today I am hoping to continue my sparring experience with Ninad. So if I get some footage, great, fantastic. That's absolutely my goal. And if I do not, I've completely balls this up. Completely fucked this up. I never come into a space front ways. There's one thing in Serbia, you always feel claustrophobic on the road. There's always someone like fucking behind you. So we'll see about sparring today. And my goal whilst I'm here, and my biggest battle, is I need to continue with this momentum. So right now I'm going twice a week. I need to continue with this momentum, get this sparring in, get as much time as possible, and then think in advance for our next spot, which we're looking to book very soon, and see if I can in advance build a relationship with someone I can go and see and continue. Because in the game of traveling while simultaneously trying to continue a practice, in my case that would be boxing or some form of martial art, you cultivate momentum, and it's very frustrating. This is what I've been doing for years, is some bullshit will happen and you fail to keep up the momentum. You stop going for whatever reason. I've had some challenges going into martial art gyms, there was a jiu-jitsu gym I went into, and I need to just be careful what I say here respectfully, but training wasn't the hard part. Showing up become very easy. The training style and individuals can sometimes be the blocker for me. And then 2020 happened, so everyone turned gay and wanted to roll with masks on. So fuck that shit. So yeah, I'm in this position. I'll be sparring today, and my biggest drive to do it is not only almost a duty at this stage. You're going to become skilled, conditioned, fit in something that's practical and functional and potentially even life-saving. But look at the time that we're in. We are in an attention era. We're in a time, and I was saying this before 2020, I could see where things were going. You've got boxers that start when they were kids, and they go through the amateurs and they go through the circuit and they work really fucking hard, and they might never have anything to show for it. A few scars, a few trophies, some stories, and that's about it, and some skills. Then you've got the era that we're in now, where you can take someone like Jake Paul comes to my mind, and I rate Jake Paul. Beyond all the antics of you're smart enough, you realise he's doing great things. But you've got people like that can make unbelievable amounts of money by having a fight. And not even just Jake Paul. Look at the scene of boxing now. Influencers. You got people that just want to fight each other. It's actually an amazing thing to do. I think it's one of the best things to happen for the online space that comes to my mind, is people will at least now actually fight each other. I think it's phenomenal, because no matter who they are, they train, they focus, they're willing to put themselves out there on the line. Sure, can you question some of the antics? Can you question some of the respect? Can you question some of the maturity? Some of it is borderline, yes, it's all entertainment, but some of it is borderline childish. But the majority of it is two people are getting in a ring and they're willing to fight each other. And we're in that era. And we're in the era of, if you do want freedom, if you do want to cultivate something that's meaningful, you have to produce content. People need to know who the fuck you are. And if people know who the fuck you are, you're somewhat relevant. And if you're relevant, people want to take that relevancy away from you. They want to steal your energy. And if you don't know how to fight or box, there's many things. You can lose credibility, validity. If you're in a situation with someone you just don't know what to do, your power level quickly declines. And if I'm ever put in a position where I can prize fight for money and get a good paycheck for it, I'm not a fan of losing, put it that way. And I'll end with this. A mantra I speak to myself and I share with others. If I can, I must. And I can. Providing I focus. Be a very skilled and talented fighter. And that's the situation I'm working for. and it's to not leave it behind. So, with that being said, it's time to get my fucking head kicked in. And hopefully someone doesn't fuck my car up. Alright. Boxing done. Whew! Regardless what happens, the formula in life really is show up. If you show up, there's only so much you can control after that point. Legitimately, no matter what you do. If you are looking to achieve anything, if that's gym, if that's work, if that's competition in any way, shape or form, you can often hack the system by having things that are easy to remember. If you look at anything that you do often, it's probably because it's easy. You know? It's been made easy. Even if those are things that you don't want to do. Right? It's been made easy for you. So the goal is to make it easy. When it comes to the internal dialogue in our mind, make it easy. And if you have in your mind too much noise, it's going to be way harder. All I have is show up. Show up. That's the only thing I have in my mind. If I show up, the rest is going to happen. And regardless what happens in those sessions, I know I'm leaving now sweaty, more time under my belt, more reps, more experience. I've got some content. There's so much that comes from it. There's a sense of reward. It becomes very clear to me when you feel depressed and you don't feel like, you feel like something's missing. I'm coming home, babe. I'm coming home. Get me a meal ready. Send a quick little voice note to Amy there. Yeah, you feel like you're missing something. And what I've broken it down to be is, you've got the God gift of energy that runs through you. Energy. And the purest way to observe this is through animals or children that are less corrupted by the way of the world, right? So in this case, the pure energy that runs through you, the chi, is here to do something purposefully. Everything has a purpose. Everything. Every plant, every insect, there's purpose for everything, right? So I would say, if you've got this energy, this God gift, the gift of energy, if you ever felt sick or unwell, you know the only thing that truly matters to you in those moments is, I want my energy back. And you know, I'm working with someone right now that's recovering from a concussion, and I'm seeing the impact that it has on him, and I just think to myself, incredibly grateful to have energy in the way that I do. It's one thing people always say about me. They're like, Charlie, you're energy. Vukashin said that to me recently out here in Serbia. He goes, I like meeting you, mate. I didn't say it like that. He goes, mate, I like meeting you. Every time I see you, you have great energy. And one thing to know about me is I also rest really well. That doesn't mean sleep really well. Rest. I know how to relax and allow my central nervous system to reset. But the point being is energy. You've got to do something with it. And if you're not doing something that's productive or rewarding, you're going to feel the impact of that in some way. And our minds, and everything's about balance, but our minds can be tricked into, what does this say? I don't know whether this is still recording. It is recording. It's overheating on the dashboard. It's 31 degrees outside. So if this is recording, great. It's going to be a funky angle. If I've got any bogeys, you're going to know about it. So I'm talking about purpose with the energy, and you've got to do something with it. That's where all the depression kicks in. That's where all the lack of fulfillment and the need to do other things and find it in cheaper ways. And I'm not judging, for the record, I'm not judging whatever people do to get their kick, to get their sense of reward, to get their dopamine. I am addicted to many different things. You could say I'm addicted to the internet. You could say I'm addicted to content, YouTube. Loads of things I absorb that I know stimulate my dopamine. Coffee. I know I'm addicted to many different things. So I'm not judging. We're in this place where that happens. You know, everyone has their thing. If you're integrating in society, like someone that isn't on a mountain meditating, and you're going to have your thing. So your choices are, where do I put my energy? What yields me the greatest return? What doesn't yield me a great return? And it depends what your values are. So there's no right or wrong answer here. It depends what your values are. There's people that play games all day. They make a living from it now. You remember that saying, depends how old you are when you were born, but if you were born in like the 90s, well, you're not going to earn a living playing games, are you? Sure, mate. Insert gamers right now that are making millions. You know, insert every single example that disproves that. So there's many things that you can do, and it depends what your values are.
And I love the thought of coming home to you.